Welcome again to New York Talk. This is the Scan Report, where we look ahead. This time we have the big spenders, the big boys, Birmingham City, coming to New York Stadium this week. We have friend of the show, Jon Merrell. Everyone that watches our show, listens to our show, will know. Jon Merrell says. Jon Merrell, what do you say? How are you doing?
I'm well. Always a pleasure.
I always enjoy these. And Tom's joining us for the Scan Report. I think it's might be a Scan Report debut. Tom, how are you doing?
Yeah, no, I had to meet the famous Jon Merrell, so I couldn't miss this one.
Exactly. Let's go back to pre-season, Jon. Let's just start there. Obviously, we know the relegation that happened. What were your thoughts and feelings as the summer progressed to the first game in August? Was it kind of looking forward to winning loads and loads of games? Do you just dread in Shrewsbury, playing Shrewsbury and teams like that? What was the pre-season vibe down there?
There was a big unknown to begin with because obviously we went for an untried manager in Chris Davis, and there was definitely an emphasis to go to a possession-based style. So we were always going to switch from what I'd like to call Brexit football to Barcelona football. So there was a big unknown of, we've tried it. Obviously, we tried it with Rooney, which, worked excellently well, didn't it? Obviously, Mowbray came in, did a bit, but there was a real unknown of, with all the signings we were making, are we going to click straight away? Is it going to take time? You see a lot of teams and clubs where they make a transition. It can take like half a season or, a quarter of the season before things start to work. And sometimes it doesn't even work at all. And the manager gets turfed out and, you see a tried and tested long ball merchant come back in and everything's gone out the window. So, there was a lot of unknowns, but for a relegated side, there was a huge amount of positivity about the club with the ownership and the plans that obviously they have, the money that pretty much was widely spread that we were going to spend or available to spend. So, as signings started to come in, it was quite positive. And when pre-season started, the first couple of performances in pre-season, you suddenly started to see what they had actually been working on. We had changed completely to the side that you guys are probably used to seeing. The pass, the movement, even in pre-season, you saw the early shoots of the, that sort of coming to fruition. And obviously we hadn't even finished our transfer business by then. So, it's just got better, and we have got, I would say, progressively better each game, barring one game, which was the Leyton Orient game, where I think, even though we won, it wasn't a great performance in that game. All 3 goals were mistakes. But we have, I would say, every single game this season took a step forward performance-wise.
So that. Run us through the transfer business. We all know the big boy. We'll maybe talk about Jay Stansfield in a minute, but just talk us through some of the other players, because you went to the continent, which is very, very unusual for League One. Very, very, very unusual for League One.
Yeah, I mean, we have gone a little bit outside the box, especially towards the end of the window. But yeah, we seem to have done, I think a few clubs have done it, where they've obviously had a discount on flights over to the Netherlands and gone scouting the Erie division, because a lot of teams have seemed to have picked up players from over there. But we've managed to pick up some players which I won't admit to knowing an awful lot about them, to be brutally honest. But when you read the reports when they were coming in, and actual respective journalists were talking about championship clubs were really in for some of these players, and Blues have just blown all of them out the water to get them. You can't help but be sort of enthusiastic and really excited. So I mean, I think obviously early doors we got Thor, as we like to call him, the big number 10. He came in with a bit of a fanfare because obviously that broke the transfer record supposedly. We signed Christopher Clara from a German side who had played, I think it was 30 plus games in the Bundesliga the season before. All right, got relegated, but still Bundesliga. I think he was borderline transfer record in League One broken as well. That kind of set the tone, and you saw those players coming through. There was a few that went out the door as well. There was a few which, shall we say, I think their card was marked quite early, the likes of Longello and Bakuna. Bakuna was the most strung out transfer saga ever. It was pretty much announced soon as pre-season that he was going. and wasn't training with the first team squad, and I think didn't actually leave the club until the last week of the transfer window. So had a very nice summer break, I guess. But yeah, obviously, you know, we've signed some real crackers, I would say. You know, some a bit left field. You know, Scott Wright from Rangers was a bit of a surprise on deadline day. The Japanese lad, Iwata, or what I think he came in from Celtic, which was rumoured to be a loan, then it was a permanent, which kind of no one really, obviously with the big boy coming in later that evening, no one really picked up on that. So yeah, and you know, we've got another Icelandic right back came in, international players. So yeah, it's been it's a weird feeling to sort of sit there at the start of this season and look at the squad on paper and go, that's miles stronger than the side that we had started last season. And last season, as stupid as it sounds right now, there was a huge amount of positivity about our window last season with the business we had done. We had all sort of said, you know, we've really strengthened. We look a decent championship side. So to sort of look at it now and go, well, we're a league below when we're even better, it's a bit mental, to be honest.
Yeah. Is there Tom shaking his head?
I will add though, the money that I think the amount we've spent grows on a daily basis. I think, you know, you go on social media and it's like Birmingham spent 20 million, then a week later it's 30 million, then it's 40 million. I think I read a Wrexham fan say, well, of course we're going to lose to a side that spent near 50 million. And it's like, what we spent all this on then? So, you know, yes, we spent money, but I think it was a few local journalists that said that the club haven't announced sort of some of the fees, but a lot of them which are reported, including Stansfield, is nowhere near what is sort of out there. So yes, we've spent money, but I don't think it's close to the stupid amounts you see reported.
Yeah, and people forget as well. You know, you sold Jordan James, isn't it, for like 5 million, 6 million. Dembele left, like you said, Bakuna left. You know, a couple others left. I mean, if you're really going on about balancing your books, I mean, you're not the obviously worst team out there for buying in a load of play. You know, it's very, very, shall we say, rich, ironically, of Wrexham fans to be saying that.
I think the fact that a lot of fans don't know from the outside is that because obviously the FFP rules are different in League One to the Championship. We all know that. The Championship ones with 3-year rolling period. With Blues this year or this summer just gone, with the contracts dropping off, we had all our what we would call the pre-COVID huge contracts that dropped off. And I think the 3-year period, it was the final year where some of the big spending from years back dropped off that 3 years. So it was always going to be this summer, which sort of the purse strings were able to be loosened. So yeah, it was always going to be this summer. I think we've just took advantage of the rules the way they are. I mean, I don't expect us to go and spend absolute fortunes in January, but you know, yeah.
Fair enough. Talking about Jay Stansfield, because he's the man that will be talked about all season. Even if it's an amazing season or a rubbish season, everybody's going to talk about him. How good is it? Because we obviously played you twice last season. We were both 0-0, so we didn't really get hurt by him. How good is he? How good do you think he can be? And is he worth the reported fee?
Good question. I suppose if we go off, for argument's sake, say 15 million, which I don't think it's anywhere near that, but for argument's sake, say 50 million. Is he worth 15 million? No, not right now. However, 7-year contract, FFP, how it works on the books, then it probably becomes a deal. If you've got the money, maybe you look at it as going, well, if he has a good season for us, which he should do, barring any injuries this season, he's already proven to be able to score goals in the Championship. His value's only going one way as a young English player. So all of a sudden, you know, you're going to make money on him, aren't you? the ironic thing is, a lot of people, I mean, even though like last night we played him as a number 9 striker, he openly admits he's not a number 9 striker. He sees him more as I think more of a sort of, inside forward left cutting in. That's where he's always favoured. I mean, last season we played him as a number 9 purely because we had no one else other than Scott Hogan who, I could have done better than Scott Hogan. So, so it was our only option. So we had to play. And to be fair, I mean, he scored 13 goals for us, I think it was last season, in a side that created absolutely nothing. I won't lie. We barely created chances. You look at a lot of his goals, they're goals from outside the box. He's not made himself, but he's took advantage. He's used his strengths, and he's got a hell of a finish on him. I think the thing that sticks out most for me, it's his off the ball movement. He's one of those. It's not coached, is it? It's obviously natural ability. He just knows where to run, what moment to make that run. I mean, it's like his goal last night. He's a 5'0" striker, and he finds the space in between two huge centre halves. Granted, the ball is fantastic, and as soon as he's there, it was just absolutely calm as anything. Little glance, there you go. So.
I hope he has another quiet couple of games.
I mean, you're. I mean, we've obviously asked about the transfers, and it's all going to be very heavily based on the forward area. But have we got any chance? With your defensive capabilities. I mean, missing Bielik. Obviously missing him. Ben Davies to come in, who is not a slouch. Signed for Liverpool from Preston. It's maybe a better defender, who knows? And obviously you mentioned Klarna from the Bundesliga, but like watching the game last night against Wrexham, your fullbacks love to push on, causes a lot of issues, but defensively is it a little bit of a frail area? You back yourself in out wide.
I would say Bielik is a huge loss. There's no two ways about it. Him missing is a big loss because he is very key to playing out from the back. He's naturally a central midfielder, so it's very much sort of Ben Davies. Yes, his track record would suggest he's a very good defender. Played majority of his career in Championship level. Obviously, got his big move to Liverpool. We've only really seen him in one game, which was against Walsall, where I'll be honest, he didn't really impress. But then again, not many of the fringe players did in that game. I would say it's definitely an area where you'd be mad not to target, and you'd be mad not to try and look at that as a potential sort of, especially on set pieces, especially with, free kicks and, lumping the ball in there to Clark Harris or Hugel. You're definitely going to have some sort of, idea of maybe that might be where we are. I mean, there's no doubt we can see goals. You've only got to look at our record this season. We do concede goals. I wouldn't say our defence is weak, though. If you look at the goals we have conceded early doors this season, a lot of them have been from counter-attacks where we've just been a bit stupid in possession. I think last night was the first goal we conceded off a corner. I don't think the goalkeeper's covered himself in a lot of glory with that particular one, but personally, I don't think we're a bad defence, but I think also the way we play does put a lot of pressure on our defence to be very good. And there isn't, you're not going to have typically a lot of holding midfielders protecting that back four. A lot of times, we are going to be, caught on the counter, and the defence are going to have to defend man on man. And sometimes it will cost us. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah. Let's finish up, but let's talk about just this season in general. Is anything other than promotion failure?
Yes, is the honest answer. Promotion has to be the only outcome. I would argue winning the league really has to be the only outcome, being honest. You spend the money we've got, you've got the squad we've got. I don't think you could sit here and say, oh, if we finish second, it's a great season. Finishing second, you've ultimately, yes, you've got promoted, so the ultimate goal has been sort of achieved. But when you've got the squad and everything, you've got to win it, haven't you? Let's be honest.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's fair.
that's fair.
Let's do a score prediction then, John. How many are you going to win by?
2-0 Rotherham. No, we will concede because we haven't kept a clean sheet all season. So, and with Bielik missing, does worry me. It's a question of can we. A lot depends on you guys how you play. I would say if you do a bit like Wrexham did, defend deep and try and hit long balls, I think you're in trouble. I think if you step onto us and press us and not try and allow us, don't allow us the space just to move the ball around and bring it out, I think you've got every chance of getting something for the game. But four games on the trot now we've won, so 3-1. Sorry to say.
3-1. That makes sense to me, sadly. Yeah, I can't argue. Tom, is there anything else you want to ask John before we let him enjoy the rest of his evening?
No, it's just, with regards to your actual squad, I mean, are you gonna? I mean, as a fan, we often struggle to name who we're going to play on a Saturday, but that's quite often down to style of play and not getting the best out of players. For you guys, it's you've got players in abundance. I mean, Mark Leonard and Harris from Fulham, for the two players that I'm surprised didn't start against Wrexham. Not because I've been following you and seeing that they're playing or injured or whatever, but just because based on the past, they're two fantastic players, but they look like they don't even get a sniff.
I believe Harris is injured at the moment, so I think he's out possibly similar time to Laird. So by all accounts, he's not going to be involved this weekend. Leonard's a real shame because Leonard was one that, of course, was so highly talked up when we got him. There was a load of clubs after him. Apparently, half the Championship wanted him on loan. Yeah. I can't confess to ever seen him playing for Northampton, so I didn't really know how good he was. Seen him for the sort of first couple of games, he looked a real player, and you just thought, he's going to be a mainstay in this midfield. Sadly, he can't. It looks like he can't get in the side right now. I mean, he came on last night, and I thought he did settle. He has that calming influence where he just sits there. You can give him the ball with like 2-3 people around. He always picks the right choice. His first touch is always on point. But yeah, I think it just sadly shows the strength of our squad that right now he probably isn't first choice, which is a bit mad to say. But the thing is with Davis, I mean, I could give you our starting 11 for what I think it will be on Saturday. It won't be, because he does seem to change things oddly, where you kind of convinced that we seem settled in a sort of an 11, and all of a sudden you're two changes and you just be thinking that's a bit odd, you wouldn't have done that sort of thing. But he shows what he knows what he's doing at the moment. So I think obviously with you having a extra couple of days on us, it wouldn't surprise me if we see one or two changes. I wouldn't be surprised to see like Scott Wright come in, refresh the wingers in a matter of speaking. I think the obvious choice, Stansfield and May are going to start. You don't have those two players and rotate them. They're going to be in there somewhere. But yeah, it'll be interesting. Like I said, I couldn't predict our starting 11 these days. It is a bit sort of all over the place.
We spent 20 minutes. First time we mentioned Alfie May, top scorer in League One over the last couple of years, and we haven't mentioned him till now. That's
playing a number 10 role. Go figure. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll leave it there, because otherwise we'll just get more and more depressed about his chances. Thank you all for being with us. Thank you, everybody who has watched. Make sure you've subscribed on YouTube and give this video a thumbs up as well. This will be out, obviously, Friday, so make sure you've watched the full preview show, which will be Thursday evening, if you haven't done so already. Thank you, John. Thank you very much, Tom. Thank you for being with us. We will see you all next time. And as always, up the Millers.